Welcome to my YouTube channel. So this is an end-to-end education recommendation system project using machine learning and Python. तो हम इस प्रोजेक्ट में पाइथन का इस्तेमाल करके एक एंड टू एंड बेस्ट स्टडीज़ रिकमेंडेशन सिस्टम बनाएंगे. So first let me show you the entire working and functionality of this project. Then we will discuss the entire implementation of this project. So what is education recommendation system? Education recommendation system ये होता है कि अगर आपके पास स्टूडेंट्स का रिकॉर्ड है, लेट्स से हाई स्कूल स्टूडेंट का, जस्ट लेट मी शो यू कि आप अगर उसका पार्ट टाइम जॉब देते हो, कितने एब्सेंस डेज है उसका, एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज़ परफॉर्म करता है या नहीं, वीकली सेल्फ स्टडीज़ एंड ऑल हिज और हर सब्जेक्ट स्कोर लाइक मैथमेटिक्स स्कोर कितना उसने लिया है, हिस्ट्री स्कोर एंड ऑल अदर सब्जेक्ट्स. उसके बाद टोटल स्कोर एंड एवरेज स्कोर. एंड वंस यू क्लिक ऑन द सबमिट बटन, दिस एजुकेशन रिकमेंडेशन सिस्टम विल रिकमेंड top 3 careers for university or best subjects, or you can say best studies career. Okay, so let me put a record for a student, then we will see that what it recommend. So मैंने एक स्टूडेंट का रिकॉर्ड यहाँ पे टाइप किया है, फीमेल, she has no part time job, 2 absence days, no extra curricular activities, weekly self study hours 7, mathematics score 65, she achieved 60 scores in history, physics में 97, 95, 97, 71, 81, 66. So these are some scores, and total will be 535 and average score will be this. So जब आप इस बटन पर क्लिक करोगे, then it will recommend this 3 careers or studies or subject for university admission to select. Okay, so the most recommended study aspiration or study recommendation for this student is teacher with this probability. Second one is unknown, and the third one is that you can be a real estate developer. So basically she has to go with this one. She has to become or select a teacher career or subject. Okay, let me type another record. Just let me quickly. So मैंने यहाँ पे एक और स्टूडेंट का रिकॉर्ड पुट किया है. अगेन फीमेल, नो पार्ट टाइम जॉब, 2 absency, and these are the subject score. And let's say for geography, let's say 67. और यहाँ पे जब आप इसमें क्लिक करते हो तो ये ऑटोमेटिकली कैलकुलेट करता है टोटल स्कोर. ओके, टोटल एंड एवरेज. लेट्स क्लिक ऑन द बटन. सो आर्टिस्ट is the most recommended, then game developer, then unknown. So yeah, basically this recommendation system works that if you put for a student a record like its his personal details and educational details, then it will recommend that you have to select that or this career or studies or subject for your university. Okay, now let's get started. What you will learn in this project. So basically this project has 3 parts. सबसे पहले हम जुपिटर नोटबुक के अंदर डेटा को लोड करेंगे. उसके बाद उस डेटा पे जितने भी प्री प्रोसेसिंग स्टेप्स हैं, टॉप मशीन लर्निंग मॉडल्स को ट्रेन करना और वहाँ पे न्यू डेटा पे टेस्ट करना कि ये किस तरह हमें रिकमेंडेशन देता है. उसके बाद हम देखेंगे कि हम किस तरह HTML, CSS एंड बूटस्ट्रैप का इस्तेमाल करके इसके लिए एक यूज़र इंटरफेस बनाएंगे. जस्ट आई हैव शोन अर्लियर कि हमने किस तरह GUI बनाया है. और बैकएंड का काम करेगा अपना फ्लास्क फ्रेमवर्क इन पाइथन. सो दिस इज़ द फ्लो. ओके, मैंने डेटा सेट आप लोगों को इस वीडियो के डिस्क्रिप्शन में शेयर किया है, यानी डेटा सेट का लिंक. यू हैव टू डाउनलोड दिस डेटा. जस्ट क्लिक ऑन दिस बटन, इट विल बी डाउनलोडेड. सो दिस इज़ द डेटा दैट वी विल बी डिस्कसिंग अ बिट लेटर. सो मैंने यहाँ पे जुपिटर नोटबुक ओपन किया है, लेकिन जुपिटर नोटबुक ओपन करने से पहले लेट मी शो यू आवर रिकमेंडेशन सिस्टम प्लेलिस्ट. दिस इज़ द प्लेलिस्ट यू हैव टू एक्सेस. और इसके अंदर जितने भी रिकमेंडेशन सिस्टम के हमने पिछले प्रोजेक्ट किए हैं वो आप देख सकते हो. आपको काफ़ी कुछ सीखने को मिलेगा. सो जुपिटर नोटबुक के अंदर सबसे पहले हम यहाँ पे डेटा को लोड करते हैं, राइट. तो उसके लिए ज़ाहिर सी बात है मैं पांडास को सबसे पहले इंपोर्ट करूँगा. पांडास इंपोर्ट करने के बाद मैं यहाँ पे pd.read.csv के थ्रू जो डेटा है जिसको नाम हमने दिया है स्टूडेंट स्कोर्स, just let me double tap like this। ये यहाँ पे मैं इंपोर्ट करता हूँ और इसका मैं एक कॉपी बनाता हूँ। इसको मैं df1 देता हूँ और इसका मैं एक कॉपी बनाता हूँ जो हम बाद में देखेंगे कि हमने ये कॉपी क्यों बनाई। सो df1 डॉट कॉपी। अब अगर मैं df दिखाऊँ तो ये है अपना डेटा सेट। So this is the data set. Now in this data set we have an ID for a student, first name for a student, last name, email, और उसका जेंडर मेल फीमेल, पार्ट टाइम जॉब जिसके अंदर दो वैल्यू है यस एंड नो। अगर स्टूडेंट का जॉब है तो यस, अगर नहीं है तो नो। एब्सेंट डेज, एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज़ यस नो अगेन, अगर किया है एक्स्ट्रा एक्टिविटीज़ देन यस, अदरवाइज इट विल बी नो। वीकली सेल्फ स्टडी आवर्स, यहाँ पे एक स्टूडेंट है जिसने वीकली आवर्स स्टडी किया है सेल्फ स्टडी, एक और स्टूडेंट है जिसने इतना स्टडी किया है। करियर एस्पिरेशन, दिस इज द टारगेट कॉलम, आउटपुट कॉलम दैट वी विल डिस्कस लेटर। उसके बाद मैथ स्कोर, हिस्ट्री स्कोर, ऑल दिस सब्जेक्ट्स, ओके। एंड या दिस इज द डेटा। नाउ इन दिस डेटा वी डोंट नीड to use email column, first name, last name and ID. We have to remove these 4 columns. So first we need to do that. मैंने क्या किया है, df के ऊपर ड्रॉप फंक्शन को कॉल किया है और इसके अंदर मैंने कॉलम्स दिए हैं id, फर्स्ट नेम, लास्ट नेम, ईमेल, कि मैं इन 4 कॉलम्स को यहाँ से ड्रॉप करना चाहता हूँ। एंड एक्सेस विल बी 1 बिकॉज वी आर गोइंग टू ड्रॉप all these columns as a column wise. If you want to drop rows then you have to specify 0. In place will be true because I want to perform this operation permanently. So if I run this and let me add a cell and just let me show you columns, it should be just columns. Now you can see we are directly start from gender because we have removed the first 4 columns. Just let me show you the data. Now you can see we have gender and all other columns, okay, perfect. Now the main part here, we have to do some feature engineering. We have to create 2 features, 2 और columns हमने create करने होंगे, total numbers or total scores from all the subjects and their average. So very simple, यहाँ पे कोड है, मैंने क्या किया है, डेटा सेट के अंदर एक और कॉलम क्रिएट किया है, टोटल स्कोर, दैट विल स्टोर टोटल स्कोर फॉर ईच स्टूडेंट by using this formula for summation. First mathematics score will be added with history score, added with physics, added will be added with chemistry score. So basically we are adding all the subject score for each student and we are going to store that total in total score. Now we also need another column that will store average score, and for that we have to use formula of average, which is very simple. What you have to do, you have to actually just divide the total score for all after adding all subject score, you have to divide on the total number of that subject. Total we have 7 subject, so let's say for one student for 7 subject we have 500 score after totaling. Now you have to divide these 500 score by 7 because you have total count for all the subject is 7, so total divided by number of subjects and that will store for each student an average. Just let me enter. Now if I go right here, you will see we have total for each student. For this is single student, this is another student, so for each student we have added a total score और साथ ही साथ हमने यहाँ पे एवरेज भी निकाला है। तो ये 2 कॉलम इंपॉर्टेंट थे, ये भी हमने बना लिए, इससे हमारा मॉडल और भी अच्छे तरीके से इंफॉर्मेशन को कैप्चर कर पाएगा। परफेक्ट। सो अगर मैं आपको टारगेट कॉलम दिखाऊँ, डीएफ के अंदर जाओ जिसका नाम है करियर एस्पिरेशंस, और इस पे मैं अगर वैल्यू काउंट्स को कॉल कर लूँ, so in this we have total unique, you can say unique values: software engineer, business owner, unknown, banker, lawyer, accountant, doctor. so अगर मैं यहाँ पे unique को कॉल कर लूँ और इसकी लेंथ निकलवाओ तो यहाँ पे, so basically total we have 17 classes. So this is multi-class classification problem that we will be converting it into a recommendation system, right? Now we have to convert categories into numbers. अगर मैं डेटा के अंदर जाऊँ, in this data we have a lot of categorical columns. like gender. In gender we have two unique values, male and females. We have to convert into numbers, okay, because machine will understand only numbers. We have to convert, we have convert and encoding is the same term, which is why I'm using it right here. So part time job has two values, yes and no. तो यहाँ पे हमने इनको भी convert करने हैं. Again yes no we have to convert. And also this career aspiration in which we have 17 classes, so we have to convert into 7 numbers. Okay, so मैं क्या करता हूँ, मैं इसके लिए encoding techniques का use करूँगा. Now we have multiple ways to encode any categorical column into numerical, like we can use scikit-learn, label encoder, one hot encoder, even though we can use pandas, get dummies, but for this video I'll do manually using Python map function. For that, first of all, what I have done, I have created my own dictionaries, gender map, जो कि store करेगा male and female with 0 and 1 values. Part-time job has true and false, so false will be converted into 1 and true will be converted into 1. Sorry, false will be converted into 0. The same thing goes for extra curricular activities map. Now I will apply these three maps on my three categorical columns, right? For now skip this one. So मैंने यहाँ पे apply किया है. What I have done, I have called df gender column, then I have called map Python function, and I have passed gender map, this one. So what will happen, wherever in gender there will be male, it will be converted into 0 and female will be converted into 1. And the same thing goes for part-time job and extracurricular activities. And again we are storing all this result in the same two columns. Let's do the same for our target column. So again I have to create a map. So मैंने यहाँ पे map create किया है. By the way, I will share this entire notebook and all the web development code in this video description. For now just follow the video and understand things, that what is going on, how we are applying things, we are converting things. Otherwise you will get all these notebooks, data set in this video description. Okay, so again we have these 4 maps. This one is for career aspiration. So totally we have 17 columns. So basically I have manually encoded them. Okay, and then apply. So if I run, and just let me show you now my new data. This is my new data. Okay, and this new data basically what we have. तो अब जेंडर के अंदर जितने भी वैल्यूज थे categorical values, now they are all converted into numbers. The same thing we have done for part-time job, we have done for activities, and we have done for career aspiration. Now everywhere we have numbers for this entire data. Okay, which is quite good. But let me show you the shape of our data. df.shape. Now in this data we have total 2000 students with 15 columns. Actually 2 columns created by us, which was the total numbers or total score for all subjects and their average. So total we were 13, but we have created 2 more, so total we have now 15. Now one thing more, I should add it right here. The data is imbalance. How to know that the data is imbalance? For that you have to work on target column. So अगर मैं target column के अंदर जाऊँ and let me call value counts. Now here you can see, now this 5 represent any class, let's say doctor, 7 represent any class, let's say lawyer. Okay, so total number of doctor is 315, and for lawyer is this, for 4 is this, but we have some columns that are less. Okay, so model क्या करेगा, what model will do after training the model on this target column, it will mostly for each input recommend these classes because they are more in number. So we have to balance this data so that model gives to each class equal importance. ठीक है, सो बेसिकली हमने डेटा को बैलेंस करना है ताकि मॉडल यहाँ पे कोई गलती ना करे और हर क्लास को अच्छे तरीके से यहाँ पे प्रेडिक्ट करके दें, यानी उसको रिकमेंड करके दें आफ्टर गिविंग इनपुट. उसके लिए हमारे पास बहुत सारे टेक्निक्स है. वी हैव अ लॉट ऑफ टेक्निक्स, सो आई विल यूज वन ऑफ देम. सो इस प्रॉब्लम के लिए मैं यूज करूँगा स्मार्ट, विच इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एल्गोरिदम और टेक्निक फॉर working such kind of problems. If you want to balance classes, data sets, then you have to use this smart class. और ये smart class आपको IMB learn library से मिल सकता है. You have to install this library, then you can import easily this one. Okay. After that, I've created an object by the name of smart. Now I can simply apply this one on my data, but before that I have to extract x and y. So df के अंदर जाके मैंने ड्रॉप किया कैरियर एस्पिरेशन को, बिकॉज कैरियर एस्पिरेशन इज आवर टारगेट कॉलम and all the other columns are our input column. So we have to store all input columns like gender, part-time jobs, all subjects, total score and the average into x, and we have to score the last, meaning the target column, into y. Now I have called fit resample function from this smart object, and I have passed my input columns, all my input data and target data. And what it will do, it will internally balance all the data classes on the basis of input column and target column, and it will store all input in x resample and y and target values in y sample. You can change this name, it doesn't matter. Okay, so just let me run the cell. Let me add another cell right here. अब अगर मैं आपको y resample के अंदर जाओ एंड इसको रन कर दो, अगर इस पर मैं वैल्यू काउंट्स को कॉल कर दो, नाउ यू विल सी दैट ऑल क्लासेस आर इक्वल. सो इसने क्या किया, बाकी क्लासेस से जो लेस क्लासेस थे उनको डुप्लीकेट किया. अगर मैं अब इसका शेप दिखाओ, द शेप विल बी इंक्रीज्ड. Okay, now we have 5,000. From 2,000 we have 5,000. It will not affect. Okay, it will improve your models. I have checked it. Okay, now let's do trend test split because we are almost there. अब आप सब लोगों को पता है कि trend test split क्या होता है. So basically what we are going to do, we have to split the data into input columns and target columns. Actually you have to do, for model selection you have to import trend test split, and in trend test split you have to pass all your input columns that was stored right here in exampled, resampled, and target column y resampled, and you have to mention the test size. So basically what we are going to do, we are going to pass 80% data from our entire data. We are going to pass 80% data for training. Okay, x trend and y trend. This will be the training phase, and 20% data for test, जो कि x टेस्ट में होगा और y टेस्ट में होगा. ये चीज़ें आप लोगों को आई होप कि आप लोगों को इनके बारे में आइडिया होगा, क्योंकि ये बहुत ही बेसिक चीज़ें हैं. सो आप यहाँ पे अगर चाहे तो आप शेप देख सकते हो. जस्ट लेट मी क्विकली गिव यू द शेप फॉर बोथ ट्रेंड. सो दिस इज द 80% data. If you want to check the 20% data from both, like y test dot shape, it should be test x test y test. X test should be capital. What's wrong? Let me copy this x test. Here spelling mistake. So this is the 80% data for both input and target, I mean the training phase, and this will be the 20% data for testing. Perfect. Now one last thing, before implementing multiple machine learning models, we have to scale this data. Scale in the sense, again यहाँ पे scaling बहुत ज़रूरी है, क्योंकि again model will give importance to higher values. So we have to give to all values equal importance, so that our model perform very well. Just let me show you. अगर मैं अभी के लिए आपको trend data दिखाऊँ, now in this trend data, here you can see if we check the mathematics score. For now just focus on math score. Okay, this is 96. Let's say here we have 30 score, here we have 30. So there is a lot of gap between 30 and 96. So model will prioritize this one. It will give importance to this one. So we have to bring all this column, this mathematics score column values between 0 and 1. Okay, and ये दो तरह से होता है. एक तो कॉलम के अंदर के जो वैल्यूज होते हैं उनके बीच में मॉडल की प्रायोरिटाइजेशन, और एक कॉलम का दूसरे कॉलम के साथ. Now here you can see we have 0 1 and here we have large values, so again model will give importance to this one. So to overcome these two problems, meaning to bring values between 0 and 1 within the column or between two columns, you have to use scaling. So इसके लिए मैं again यहाँ पे scaling का जो एक क्लास है वो इंपोर्ट करता हूँ. अब इसके लिए हमारे पास दो क्लासेस हैं, मीन मैक्स स्केलर एंड स्टैंडर्ड स्केलर. सो आई यूज हियर स्टैंडर्ड स्केलर बिकॉज इसमें हमारे पास बाइनरी वैल्यूज भी बहुत ज़्यादा हैं. सो अगेन आपने साइकिट लर्न के प्री प्रोसेसिंग से स्टैंडर्ड स्केलर का आपने एक ऑब्जेक्ट बनाना है बाय एनी नेम. नाउ यू हैव टू कॉल फिट ट्रांसफॉर्म फंक्शन फ्रॉम दिस स्केलर एंड यू हैव टू पास द इनपुट training 80% data and it's 20% data, and I have stored it in extern scaled and extest scaled. So अब अगर मैं इसको रन करूँ और आपको मैं extern scale दिखाऊँ, now you will see some kind of array. So basically this is the first column, okay, this is the second column, this is the third up to last one column, और हर column की value between 0 and 1 होगा, okay, so that our model not prioritize any higher value and it give equal importance to all values. Now let's train our top 10 machine learning models. So मैं क्या करता हूँ, top 10 machine learning model को train करता हूँ using a loop. So let me import quickly all the. So मैं यहाँ पे इंपोर्ट करता हूँ एल्गोरिदम को. मैंने क्या किया है, साइकिट लर्न के मॉडल सिलेक्शन से लॉजिस्टिक रिग्रेशन, सपोर्ट वेक्टर मशीन से सपोर्ट वेक्टर क्लासीफायर, इंजेम्बल से रैंडम फॉरेस्ट क्लासीफायर, नेबर से के नेबर क्लासीफायर, ट्री से डिसीजन ट्री, गैशियन एनबी एडा बूस्ट क्लासीफायर, ग्रेडियंट boosting classifier, XG boost classifier, and we have to calculate their matrices. तो इसके लिए हमने मैट्रिक्स से एक्यूरेसी स्कोर, क्लासिफिकेशन रिपोर्ट एंड कंफ्यूजन मैट्रिक्स. So again I'm not going to explain that what is logistic regression, what is random forest, because we are doing a project, otherwise the video will become very lengthy. Okay, so अब मैं क्या करता हूँ, एक डिक्शनरी बनाऊंगा और उस डिक्शनरी के अंदर मॉडल का नेम और उस मॉडल का ऑब्जेक्ट होगा. Okay, so basically I have created a dictionary by the name of models जिसमें keys and value, keys and values, keys and value for all the algorithm that we have used. Now I'll run a loop that will extract the name and the algorithm itself from these models. Okay, so अब मैं यहाँ पे पेस्ट करता हूँ अपने लूप को. So this is the loop. Let me explain it quickly. It's very simple. What we are going to do, हम इस लूप के थ्रू से मॉडल्स के आइटम्स, यहाँ पे डिक्शनरी है तो आइटम्स यानी कीज एंड वैल्यूज को एट अ टाइम हम कैप्चर यानी गेट कर रहे हैं. So what it will, this loop will take at a time. On first iteration, this loop will get the first name of the model and the model itself, and I think it was logistic regressor. Okay, this one. And it will be after that I'm printing a line. Okay, this is optional. After that I'm printing model name itself, okay, which is the name, and after that I am applying the model, this one. So on first iteration it will print logistic regression and it will fit logistic regression by passing extern scaled and wide trend. This is the 80% data, and after that I am predicting on this model. So logistic regression will predict for X test scaled and it will store all the prediction. Let's say in X test we have 10 students, so it will predict test 10 classes for each class for each student, okay, at a time. So all the prediction will be stored in ypred. Now we have to calculate the accuracy of this model. उसके लिए accuracy score के अंदर आपने पास करना है y test. This is the data that has not yet seen by the model, okay, and this is the predicted by model. So what we are going to do, we are actually comparing the data that hasn't been seen by the model and the data that has been predicted by the model, so that we can calculate the accuracy score of this model. The same thing goes with classification report and confusion matrix, and after that I have just printed these three matrices. Now let me run it, then I will explain the two matrices which are important. So let's shift enter. So यहाँ पे लॉजिस्टिक रिग्रेशन का एक्यूरेसी है 48. Classification report gives precision, recall, F1 score, support for each class. Just let me quickly explain you. Now from 0 until 17 is our classes. Okay, we have total 17 classes, और हर क्लास के लिए इसने कैलकुलेट किया है precision, recall, F1 score and support. So basically in classification report you are going to check precision, recall, F1 score, support for each class. This is the first class, second class, third class with all the matrices. And at the end of classification report it's also give the average, I mean the final accuracy score, which is 49, जो कि बहुत ही कम है, and macro average and weighted average for all the four matrices. Let's check the confusion matrix. In confusion matrix, what we are going to do, we are just checking that how many classes misclassified model for actual classes, or how model classified correctly. So अगर यहाँ पे आपका एक क्लास है this true one, और तो आपके लेफ्ट पे यहाँ पे अगर आप प्लॉट करो तो ये आपको दे सकता है एक्चुअल क्लासेस, और इसके वाई पे ये आपको देता है, I mean on this y it will give the predicted classes. So let's say actual class is this one. So actual class यहाँ पे है जो कोई भी है, we don't know क्योंकि यहाँ पे मैंने नाम नहीं दिया है, और यहाँ पे प्रेडिक्टेड क्लास के लिए मॉडल ने 0 प्रेडिक्ट किया है, यानी 0 गलती की है, और यहाँ पे एक और क्लास है और एक्चुअल कोई और, एक्चुअल यहाँ पे है और यहाँ पे प्रेडिक्टेड कोई और है, तो एक्चुअल के लिए मॉडल ने यहाँ पे 5 गलतियाँ की हैं. सो ये अगर जहाँ पे 0 हो, ये डायगोनल लाइन जो आप देख रहे हो, डायगोनल लाइन, इसके नीचे और ऊपर जितने ज़्यादा 0 होंगे उतना आपके मॉडल अच्छे तरीके से परफॉर्म कर रहा है. सो you have to consider confusion matrix this diagonal line, above this diagonal line and below this diagonal line. Okay, this is the diagonal line, below this diagonal line and above this diagonal line. If you have a lot of zeros, it's mean that your model is not doing misclassification, meaning it's doing well for each actual class, it's predict the right class. But if, as you can see here, it's 13, so it's mean that it's misclassified 13 for this class. Okay, I hope you get the idea. Let's check another model. We have support vector 64. Okay, perfect. Again you can see its classification report and confusion matrix. We have another 82 random forest. Perfect, 82 is very good. और यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो इसकी confusion matrix अगर देखा जाए, in this case we have a lot of 0, so it's mean that random forest is not doing misclassification for actual classes. So it's mean that random forest will be doing great for new input data. We have nearest neighbor and we have decision tree with 68. यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो 30 गॉसियन नेबर जो कि बहुत ही ख़राब रिज़ल्ट दे रहा है. इसी तरह यहाँ पे हमारे पास एडा बूस्ट 23 जो कि बहुत ही कम है. सो बेसिकली रैंडम फॉरेस्ट इज़ द बेस्ट मॉडल फॉर दिस प्रोजेक्ट. ओके, सो आई विल सेपरेटली ट्रेन रैंडम फॉरेस्ट बिकॉज I will be using random forest for predictions. Okay, so मैं यहाँ पे क्या करता हूँ, random forest वाला कोड पेस्ट करता हूँ and just let me quickly explain. I have created an object for random forest, then I have done the same method by calling fit, passing the training data, then for testing data we are doing prediction, and again we are calculating all the matrices. Let me run and let's see 82. So basically the same result. Now let's do some single input prediction. उसके बाद we will be saving the train model because we'll be using that in production. Okay, but for now let me just check for single input कि हमारा जो मॉडल है वो किस तरह रिजल्ट दे रहा है. So अगर मैं अभी के लिए x टेस्ट स्केल डेटा का कोई एक रिकॉर्ड उठाओ, लेट्स से 10, On 10 index we have this student record. This is the gender, this is the part-time job, I think this is the subject score, another subject score, all this. So basically these are the values. Okay, we have scaled them down. Now I have to convert all this into 2D because currently it is a single D. Okay, और हमारा जो मॉडल है वो 2D पे ट्रेन हुआ है. So for that you have to call reshape function. Now you will see this two brackets. So basically now it becomes 2D. So मैं मॉडल से अब इसे प्रेडिक्ट मारता हूँ. Predict, enter. So it's recommend 12 class for this 10 record. अगर आप चाहते हो कि ये जो ब्रैकेट्स है ये ना हो तो आप 0 यहाँ पे ऐड कर सकते हो. आई थिंक मैंने गलती से अंदर इसको डाला, इसको बाहर होना चाहिए. Now we have 12. So let me print here actual, sorry, predicted label. और अब अगर मैं इसका जो एक्चुअल लेबल है वो देखो, और वो जाहिर सी बात है किसके पास है, वो अपने y के पास है. y टेस्ट क्या जो आई लॉग पे पड़ा है 10 वो. यहाँ पे मैंने क्या मिस्टेक किया, इनवैलिड सिंटैक्स. एक्चुअल y test डॉट आई लॉग, मैं पहले यहाँ पे देखता हूँ. सो या इट्स वर्किंग. मॉडल ने भी सही प्रेडिक्ट किया था और एक्चुअल जो है वो भी 12 है. तो यहाँ पे कौन सा एरर है मुझे इसकी समझ नहीं आई. प्रिंट एक्चुअल y test डॉट आई लॉग 10, वेयर इज अ मिस्टेक. I don't know. Just let me quickly check. What is... Oh, the mistake is right here. Let me undo it. This one. Because now I am using print. So let me make it right here. Let me remove this part for now. Just let me cut and let me pause. Okay, the error is here. Perfect. I think we are... This is print, then model.predict, stars, then reshape. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, now it's perfect. Now let me pass this one. So model predicted 12 and actual is also 12. Let's see another record. Let me add here a cell and just let me change this. Let's say this time 100 rows. On 100 rows, whatever the record is, I want to check it. Here you can see the model is not predicting well. So let's see on 4 row. Again 4 and 4 model is working. Let me check another single record, then we will be let's say 45. Oops. Yeah, it's working. So basically the model is working quite great. अब हम क्या करेंगे, we have to save 2 files and also we have to load that. इसके लिए we have to import pickle library. So pickle dot, just let me copy. So मैंने क्या किया, pickle dot dump को कॉल किया, उसको मैंने scalar पास किया. Scalar is actually standard scalar. We need that, okay, for user input because our model is trained on scale data. So once we get input from user, we have to scale that also. So that's why we have to save this file, and also we have to save the model. So I have a folder by the name of models. If I show you, this is my folder, okay, and within this folder I'm giving the name scalar pkl. You can give any name with right binary mode, and the same thing goes for model. So if I run, and also let me reload. For reloading, what you have to do is pickle.load, open from this path with read binary mode, okay. So also let me reload. Now we have these two files. In future, in website creation, desktop application, wherever you want to use them, now they are converted into pkl file. They are trained models, okay. So मैं क्या करता हूँ, अब एक प्रॉपर रिकमेंडेशन सिस्टम बनाऊंगा. बिफोर गोइंग इनटू वेब डेवलपमेंट वाला पार्ट, वी नीड टू क्रिएट अ प्रॉपर रिकमेंडेशन सिस्टम. सो मैं क्या करता हूँ, पहले यूजर से इनपुट लेता हूँ. सो बेसिकली आई हैव अ फंक्शन बाय द नेम ऑफ रिकमेंडेशन, जो अभी तक मैंने क्रिएट नहीं किया है. I am passing to this recommendation function. Let me define this function right here. Okay, अभी के लिए मैं इसको पास करता हूँ. I am passing user input. Gender is female. Part type job is this. These are all the inputs. Okay. So now we have to do all the pre-processing steps and model prediction within this function. अब इस function के अंदर we have to get all these arguments. Okay. So अब इस function के अंदर we are getting all these arguments as a parameter. Okay. Now let's do in the function body, let's do the proper code for this recommendation. Now see, very important. First of all, we need to do encoding, because in this user input we have a female, false. These three input columns or categories, so we have to convert into numbers. Okay, so for that a little bit logic. What I have done, I have used if gender, this is optional, if gender meaning this one, this value, actually I'm talking about this value, if this is lower equal to female, then give it 1. Why? Because before training we encoded the gender column two values, that was male and female, into 0 and 1. For female we had considered 1, and for male we had considered 0. So that's why we have to do the same right here. So if it is female, it will become 1, otherwise it will be 0. And the same thing goes for part-time job and for extracurricular activities, right? So that was the encoding process. Now we have to convert all this data into an array. Okay, so let me paste it right here. So मैंने क्या किया है, for that you have to import numpy. So let me quickly import before this function, import numpy as np. Okay, this should be important. So हमने क्या किया, numpy को import किया, because we are going to convert all these variables or data into 2D array. So np.array, in which I have passed two brackets because I want 2D, open and close brackets, in which I have passed all these variables, right? And I have stored all this into feature array. Now finally we have this feature array. So one last step, we have to do also scaling, then we can predict. So feature scaling का code ये हो गया. We have already loaded the scalar that we had saved, and we had also loaded. Now this time you don't need to call fit transform, you have to just call transform and pass the feature array. Now this will be converted into scaled features, as we have already seen in the training phase. Now let's predict the probability for this record. So basically this is a single student record that user wants to pass from here. And once we get this entire user record here, we are doing encoding, we are doing conversion into 2D, then we are doing scaling. Now we have to predict probabilities for all the 10 classes. So basically we have also loaded a model, and here you have to call probability, predict probabs. Okay, predict probability, and here just pass this final scaled features. Okay, just let me copy. So basically just let me quickly paste here. Yeah, So basically what we are doing here, we are doing probability prediction for this entire record, and this model will predict 17 classes. Total we have 17 classes, so it will calculate 17 probabilities for this. Now we have to grab top three probabilities from this variable, because now all the 17 probabilities will be stored in this one. So it's very simple. Just let me paste here. So actually what we are going on these probabilities will be array. So just let me show you the output of this variable will be something like this, like 90.2, 20 point something for other class. For third class will probability will be 40, not 40, let's say 10 point this, up to 17 classes. Okay, so now what we are going to do, we have to sort from, because I want the result like this. Maybe for 4 class we have, let's say 100, so I want to put the 100 at the top in ascending order, right? So we are just getting top classes IDs, but instead of 5 I want 3, or let's say 5. Okay, you can now basically these are the top came, so I want top recommendation. Now these are the top classes IDs. Probabilities already we have, and their IDs we have. But what I want, I don't want to just display the probabilities, the numbers, the scores. I have to properly display the names of the classes, the carriers, like teacher, artist, whatever it's recommend. For that we need again a dictionary. Basically I need a list of class names. So before this function I have a variable by the name of class names, in which we have all the classes, the 17 classes. But here you have to pass the string, not the IDs, because we are going to display this one. Now just we have to get that names. All other things are ready. So just let me paste here the final code in this function. So what we are going to do, I am going to do this using list comprehension. अब इस लिस्ट कॉम्प्रिहेंशन के अंदर सबसे पहले मैं एक लूप चला रहा हूं. जो टॉप क्लासेस आईडीज हैं विच आर 5. ओके, फ्रॉम दिस आई एम गेटिंग 1 by 1 id. So this loop will be iterating 5 times, and 5 times it will get id, and for each id I am getting the class name. Let's say the probability id represent doctor class, so from this class name we have to get doctor, and also its probability. The probability was stored in this variable. So basically here I am zipping 2 values, class name and its probability, and I am storing all this in this variable, and this function will return all the recommendation. Just let me show you the output, then I'll give a quick revision. Let me run it now. Before running that, we have to finally we will be getting the result in this final variable, because we have called the function and it will return the recommendation with probabilities we have to print. So this variable will store 5 classes names and their corresponding 5 probabilities. So what you have to do, just copy this and add a cell and paste it. Now this is another record, because I have changed the values, female too, but that there I change a lot of values. Okay, so you have to change the record accordingly. So if I run it, तो मैं जल्दी से इसको रन करता हूँ. Now for this record we are getting artist with this probability, game developer with this probability. So yeah, it's working. Now the last thing, just quickly check your scikit-learn version, because in PyCharm, I mean in development, we have to install the same version, because when we converted into PKL, the scalar and model, they were trained on this version. So we have to install this version exactly right there. So just run this cell, it will output the version for your scikit-learn. If there in your case, if it is 1.10.2, then in PyCharm you have to install exactly the same version. I'll guide you. Okay, so let's jump into the development part. क्या है तो PyCharm के अंदर आपके पास एक फोल्डर होना चाहिए लाइक दिस एजुकेशन रिकमेंडेशन, जिसके अंदर एक और फोल्डर होना चाहिए मॉडल्स। अब मॉडल्स के अंदर आपने वो दो फाइल्स जो हमने सेव किए थे मॉडल डॉट पी एंड स्केलर, ये आपने यहाँ पे सेव करनी है, ठीक है। और स्टैटिक के अंदर आपके पास 3 इमेजेस होनी चाहिए। ये इमेजेस मैं आप लोगों के साथ शेयर कर दूंगा, बट आपने क्या करना है, ये सारे के सारे इमेजेस स्टैटिक के अंदर रखनी है। टेम्पलेट्स के नाम से एक और फोल्डर बनाए जिसके अंदर आपने 3 फाइल्स बनाने हैं, home.html, recommender.html, result.html। how to create all these folders? Just right click, go to new and their html file, okay. And outside of all this folder you must have another file app.py in which we will be implementing Flask। सो मैंने यहाँ पे ओपन किया है। अगर मैं home.html के अंदर जाऊँ, सो इन home.html we have the basic template। I will be using HTML with bootstrap, and recommender.py we have the basic template, in result we have the basic template। now let's start with app। so first of all you need to install scikit-learn with this whatever your version was in your notebook, then numpy in Flask, where in your terminal। सो अपने टर्मिनल में ये तीनों के तीनों इंस्टॉल करनी है। उसके बाद मैंने फ्लास्क इंपोर्ट किया है, रेंडर टेम्पलेट एंड रिक्वेस्ट, पिकल भी इंपोर्ट किया है और numpy भी इंपोर्ट किया है। फ्लास्क का मैंने ऑब्जेक्ट बनाया है और पाइथन के मेन के अंदर मैंने इसको रन किया है, डिबगर को ट्रू रखा है, ठीक है। सो दीज आर द बेसिक सिंटैक्स ऑफ फ्लास्क। नाउ लेट मी क्रिएट रूट। और रूट के लिए आप इसी तरह पाथ देते हो, and then you have to create a function by any name, and I want to redirect to the home.html page। for that we use render template in Flask, so home.html। so basically जब आप किसी html फाइल के साथ रिडायरेक्ट करते हो तो उसके लिए आप render template यूज़ करते हो, जो कि हमने यहाँ पे इंपोर्ट किया है, ठीक है। so just let me run। बेसिकली यहाँ पे मुझे कॉलन डालने चाहिए थे। सो टू रन ऐप जस्ट राइट क्लिक and run the app, okay। so you will get a URL in your console, just click on this URL, so your app will be opened in your Chrome browser। so this is empty because we didn't written anything in home.html, but if I add something like h1, this is home page like this, and just let me reload, you will see thing। now let's design this home page। so first I'll create the navbar, in the sense in which I'll just write a basic message, okay। so right here I can say that let's say what I can write here, I can write here div dot, but first let me give a space, div dot container। मैं यहाँ पे bootstrap का कंटेनर इस्तेमाल करूँगा और मार्जिन यहाँ पे ऐड नहीं करूँगा। सो या मैं क्या करता हूँ, कॉपी करके यहाँ पे आपको एक्सप्लेन करता हूँ। सो मैं जल्दी यहाँ पे पेस्ट करता हूँ, जस्ट लेट मी चेक द रिकॉर्डिंग, ओके। सो ये एक कंटेनर है, ओके। नाउ हियर व्हाट वी हैव अ कस्टम क्लास myNav with bootstrap shadow sm। स्टाइल मैंने ऐड किया है, बैकग्राउंड विल बी ट्रांसपेरेंट, कलर विल बी वाइट, the text will be bold, padding will be this। these are some custom css, okay। so and after that I have add h1 tag with this bootstrap class text center education recommendation। so just let me reload the page now। now this is the navbar, okay। this is a transparent navbar, okay। now after this div I will add another div like this one। so just let me quickly explain, this is very simple, very basic। so again we have a div with bootstrap class container with another class margin top will be 5, in which I have add h1 with this message, then some kind of paragraph, another paragraph, then we have add a button, actually a link. When we click on that link, then it will redirect to another page. So if I just reload, now we have this thing. Okay, so these are some basic, but what I can do, I can cut both these divs. I will add here another div, bg image. So this is a class, and I will also add here an id like bg image. This div will help us to work with bg image, जहाँ पे हम images को रियल टाइम में अपडेट करते रहेंगे, वो मैं बाद में बताऊंगा. सो जस्ट लेट मी क्विकली मेक थिंग्स श्योर लाइक दिस. So what we have currently, we have this div. Okay, and within this div we have two divs. This div represent the navbar and this div represent the center content. Okay, so now for this divs I will add custom css quickly. So right here after head मैं यहाँ पे custom css add करता हूँ. This is very simple. Just so हमारे पास क्लास था myNav in which I have add border radius with 10 pixel, box shadow will be this, background will be this, color will be this, padding will be this, width will be this. This is for myNav. Okay, उसके बाद कंटेनर के लिए हमने css किया है margin top 50, border radius will be this, box shadow, padding, background, color. So these are the css, and the bg image like this one, we have added css. Background size will be cover, background position will be center. You will understand all these things a bit later, but yeah, now if I go to and reload the page, you will see different. Okay, now we have shadow effects, as you can see. Perfect. Now we will add in background the three images, and in real time we will be updating after 3 seconds each image. Here we can't see the color because we didn't add image, so that it should be transparent. So let me quickly add a JavaScript for this. So for this container I will add a JavaScript code right here. So let me do it quickly. For that you write script, and in script just let me, so in this JavaScript let me add a constant variable images. Now this image will store the 3 images that we stored in static folder. So in static folder we have first image, image.png, second image, image1, third image 2. So what I am doing, I am storing these 3 images within a list, and then I am passing it to these images. After that I have another variable current index that will detect the index for these 3 images. So currently you can see this image is at index 0, at index 1, at index 2. So we are going to store 3 indexes one by one. Now I'll create a function quick. So let me quickly add a function. This is very simple, just let me quickly explain the function. So basically this simple JavaScript code is only used for changing the images, the background 3 images. You will see a bit later. First we store the images, then we have variable current index that will store the index for all these 3 images. Then we have a function in JavaScript. If you want to create or define a function, then you have to pass this keyword function. This is the name of the function. You can give it any name. This code is optional for you, but yes, you can go with it. उसके बाद का document के through यानी get element by id. So we have to pass this image to this div. Okay, sorry, this one, this id. Okay, and with all these backgrounds images, again we have passed right here from the URL. After that we are updating the index, and here we are setting the time with 4000. So 1000 is equal to 1 second. So total we have 4000. It means we are changing an image after 4 seconds. Now just let me call this function right here quickly. So let's see what happens if I reload. where did I just let me I think the script should be outside of the body, and just let me cut right here. Other things are similar. Okay, so now let's reload and let's wait what happens. It's not updating. Okay, the issue is that here the id name is with capital I. Okay, we are getting the id from the d with capital I, but if we see or check, here we have smaller one. So let me quickly update this entire div now. So the issue was only with the id name, so it must be same. Okay, now let's see. Just let me reload. Now after each 4 seconds it will update the image in the background, and you can see the nav bar is transparent with a little shadow, and this is the text. Now what I can do, once I click on this get recommendation button, it should be redirect to another page. So here you can see in this button I have added href with recommend. So just let me copy this and go to home.html, and here I will add another route at this path, meaning when I click on that button, then it should be redirect with the help of this recommend route, or you can say path, and redirect me with the help of this function. So def, you can keep the name same, doesn't matter, and just let me copy this like this. But here what I want, when I click on recommend button, it should redirect me to recommend.html. just let me copy. In recommend this, what we have this page. Okay, so yeah, one thing more in recommend, let me also add quickly the css. It's very simple. So in recommend body, I want the background color to this one. The container that I will be creating a little bit later with the same css style. For now forget this part. Okay, so for now forget the css. So if I go here and reload the page, now if I click on this get recommendation, so it will redirect me to this education recommendation page. Because in education we also add nav bar, but this time it's not transparent. As you can see, background color will be black. Now I have this container. Okay, in this container what I'll create a form in which we will be taking input from a user like gender, all the subject scores, and there will be adding a button. When we click on that button, it will recommend the studies or education, right? So in this container, let's quickly add form. But before adding form, let me quickly add h2 with text center class from bootstrap, and let me write here filling the details to get recommendations. So let's have a look. Now we have this heading. Now below this heading, let's quickly add the form. So first let me check recording. Yeah, so what I can do here, I can use bootstrap. So div.row, and within this row I want two input fields side by side. So for that I can add another div with the form group class coming from bootstrap again. Okay, and but before that, just let me quickly cut this. Before that, within this row we need to add another one, div call md6, and within this let me pass this one. let me, yeah. Now within this we can quickly create label for gender, and after that input. Now in input I want option, a drop down, so for that we use select, and you can give a name like gender, id like gender, and one more thing, you have to give class, bootstrap class, form control. So within this I will add two options, like male, control D, and female. And in option you can also add value. I think I made a mistake, it should be option, so value will be male, control D, female, just let's have a look. Now we have this drop down, so in the same row I want to add here another field. So if you use row like this one, using bootstrap row like this one, it's mean that you are going to add side by side input field. So in this input field I'll just copy this one and paste it right here. Now the second will be part-time job, okay, but in part-time job just quickly change this to part-time job, and let me copy, so it will be the id and it will be the name, and here we will have true, and it should be yes, and false no. Okay, so basically यहाँ पे अब हमने पार्ट टाइम जॉब के लिए एक इनपुट फील्ड ऐड किया. I think it's okay. The issue is, let me cut this one, it should be within call md6. Now if I check, yeah, perfect. So basically this one row represent two fields. Okay, now I will copy and paste the same for all other fields. So मैंने यहाँ पे इस कंटेनर के अंदर तमाम के तमाम fields ऐड किए. This is the third field for absentee days, fourth field, fifth, 5, and so we have added successfully all the fields. And at the end, now all these things you must put in a form. Okay, how you have to put them in a form? Right here after the heading you must have a form, and after form you add all the field. Okay, I'll share all this code with you. So in the end of this form we have added submit button with submit. Now let's quickly check. So now we have this form. Okay, now after adding input right here, once user click on this button, it must redirect to another page with a recommendation result. So let's do that quickly. So first of all, this form must have a method by post and must have an action by pred name. So let me copy this pred and go to app.py. Now let me add here another root, route with this location, but here I'll add methods that it could be post, it could be get, and let me add here a function with the name of pred. For now let me pass it. Okay, now first we need to import these two models, scalar and model. So let me quickly import them. अब यहाँ पे मैं क्या करता हूँ, इंपोर्ट करता हूँ अपने दोनों फाइल्स को. सो मैंने क्या किया, विद द हेल्प ऑफ pickle डॉट लोड आई लोडेड द स्केलर डॉट pkl and model dot pkl and saved them with scalar in scalar and model. Also I created this list for class names. Now I also need the recommendation function that we have created during the notebook, so it is the similar one. So let me quickly copy for my from here. Basically you'll get this code, just let me quickly copy. It is the same function, right? See, the process is very simple. First we have imported all the modules, then we have imported the two models because we need them, then we have the class list then we have the home url, our root, and for recommendation button root, and now for pred I want to add the function right here. This is the same function we had created during the recommendation notebook. So recommendation, getting all the user inputs, then encoding, then converting into 2D the same code, and then feature scaling. Then by loaded model we are predicting probabilities, getting top classes and their classes names with probabilities and returning this. Now we have to call this function right here. Now here in pred we have to do two things. First we have to get all the details from user, and this all those details are coming from the recommend page where we have added the form. So first we need to get that input. Once we get that input, then we have to pass to this recommend function. So quickly first let me add here request, if request dot method equal to post. Basically this request we already imported right here. Okay, so यहाँ पे मैं क्या करता हूँ, if the method request is post then only get one by one all these things. Now with the help of this name I will get the gender input, and with the help of this name I'll get the value of part-time job, and with the help of this name I will get absence days. So let me quickly add all those fields. Now let me quickly revise. In this route we have passed the route method, it could be post or get. First we check that if the method is post then only go forward. Now we are requesting with the help of request. So here request.form means that we are going to request to the form of the field gender, and if their user input female then we will be getting female and storing in gender. The same thing goes for part-time job. By default it's true. Okay, I think we should remove this like this, or let's say by default let them true. Okay, and absence days. So basically we are getting the input fields from the form, and some input fields if they are integer we are explicitly convert into integer. The last for total score and average score we are converting into float because explicitly they are float. Once we get all these inputs from the form, then we are passing this input to the recommendation function. Okay, and the recommendation function is right here. Okay, and from this recommendation we are getting the recommendation with probability, so we will be getting that recommendation right here. Now we have to display this recommendation because finally the results are stored in this recommendation. So in this recommendation we have the recommended probabilities with their corresponding classes. So if you want to display. Now I want, once I get all this recommendation, I want to redirect to another page by the name of result. So return render template, go to the result.html, and there also pass this recommendation. Now I can just copy this one and I can display this at result page. So if I go to my result page, this is the result page. Okay, and here I can quickly add a loop. Now if you want to implement Python code in HTML, you have to use Jinja template. So let me quickly add the null explain. So let me select all and paste. Now first again I have add container with margin top 5, then I have added heading top recommended studies with probabilities, then I have add unordered list. This is again bootstrap class list group margin top 3. You will see a bit later. Now for Jinja template you have to use this syntax. Okay, this is the syntax in which you will implement Python code like this one for recommendation in recommendation. Now this recommendation coming right here, in which we have the top 3 or 5 recommendation. Okay, so here I want to run a loop and one by one get a recommendation, and I am printing this. Now this recommendation takes two things, class and its corresponding probability. So at index 0 I am going to display. Now if you want to display, again you have to use this double curly braces open and close. This is again Jinja template syntax. So recommendation at 0 will be the name, and at recommendation with index 1 will be the probability. So basically what we are going here, we are just displaying the recommended result with the help of this loop and Jinja template and some kind of bootstrap classes, right? Perfect. So basically let me quickly give in app.py we have the backend code, home.html we have the front end, the basic first page, and in recommendation we have the form. And once we get the input field and click on the button, then we will be redirected to result.html where we will display this result. Let's try one. So let me quickly reload the page. Oops, I think I should rerun it because I think the URL was destroyed. So let me run again. Okay, so now click just on this URL. So if I go to the page, now here just let me quickly add couple of input. I want randomly. Okay, I want randomly, let's say 3 hours math score, let's say this I want randomly, right? This is the okay. Now here we have to add one more thing. What I want, basically when I add all the score for the subjects, okay, for the subjects, I want to automatically fill the total score. We don't need to manually type like total score. I want automatically. The same thing for average. For that what we can do in recommend before the form or before the body or within the body, we can add for that JavaScript code. Outside the body after the style, let me quickly add the JavaScript. It's very simple. So basically we have just a function by the name of calculate scores. Now in this first I get math score, history score, physics score. So basically what I am doing here, I'm basically getting all the scores and storing into this variable from the subject using parse float. This is a function in JavaScript. Then I am requesting document.get element by ID. We have math score, history score. So basically from form I am getting those input fields, like if I show right here these fields, I want to get the values from the subject fields with the help of this code. Okay, once I get, now I am doing the same formula, adding, storing into total score, then dividing and returning average score. Now I want to pass this two variable to my last two input, so total score and total score, pass this. Okay, so basically this is the simple code. If I go to the last two page, right here you can see id, okay, perfect. Now if I click, just let me reload. Now after reloading, again let me quickly add, no, let's say 10, yes, let's say 9 or 8, 20, 40, randomly let me add 48, something like this, Now we are getting automatically the total and average. Let's click, so it will redirect to the result page with this recommendation. You can try another. Let me change the subject to, let me add smaller results. Let's see what happens with smaller subject scores. Okay, and business owner with this probability, accountant. Yeah, so yeah, this is the website and this is the recommendation system. We have this home page. Once you click on this get recommendation, then you will have this page, and once you fill the information and click on submit button, and it will redirect to result.html, and where you will get the recommendation. So I hope that you have enjoyed and you have learned a lot of things from this video. If you enjoyed, then I request you that subscribe to this channel and also like the video. If you have any query or question, then you can ask in the below comment section. I'll definitely answer. Thank you so much for watching this video. See you in the next.